I'm Marty Greif with SiteTuners, and we are going to have an amazing, I will say, an amazing conversation today about how to increase your conversion rate using, guided shopping is what I call it. And I'm going to introduce Michael in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit about my experience with this so far. We've seen this in action now, and his platform, as well as when people do this manually. And I will tell you that it's been our experience that e-commerce companies that implement this type of solution increase their conversion rates that go through the platform between 200 to 1200%. Okay, I mean, think about that. And what Michael's going to show you today is going to give you the logic behind it, but he's also going to show you some examples from some real clients, and he's going to be able to show you the conversion rates that happen through his platform. And I will tell you, because I'm privy to kind of the before and after, there's limits to what Michael can say, and there's limits to what we can say because there are NDAs in place, but he's allowed to show you some relative things here. And I will tell you that when you see these amazing conversion rates, these conversion rates are 3, 4, 5 times what the normal conversion rates are for the sites as a whole. So when we get people to go through this platform, it results in massive conversions and an amazing amount of revenue. So Michael, I assume you're there, buddy. You want to can you pop in here real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. Michael is one of the founders of Preezie, Michael Tutek, and Michael and I have been working together for like 6 months now, Michael, I think. Is that about right, buddy?
Yeah, about right. Yeah,
it feels right. Okay, and I've seen what they've done, and I honestly, I am blown away by what he and his partners have done. They're a fast-growing company, and this is without a doubt something that every e-commerce client should be looking at. So with that, I don't want to steal your thunder, buddy, but you're going to go through. We're going to go through an overview of the concepts. We're going to talk about what's going on today in the world and how this has become more important, things that are happening with consumer behavior, right? And then we're going to talk about some examples, and you're going to show them behind the scenes. That's the plan, right, buddy?
Yes, spot on. You're on the money.
Take it away. We're going to have the Michael show for a while. All right.
That's it. No stress. All right. Well, firstly, Marty, really appreciate you setting the webinar up. So as Marty mentioned, everyone, my name is Michael Tutek. I'm one of the co-founders of Preezie. And Preezie, as the screen suggests, is what we call a guided conversion and product discovery platform for e-commerce. So firstly, I'm just going to take you through a little bit of the high levels of the software through this PowerPoint, through this PDF. Then, as Marty said, we'll go through a bit of a conversation and show you some examples and behind the scenes. So let's hop straight into it. So simply put, what guided conversion is and what Preezie does is pretty simple in concept, in theory. We bring that in-store shopping experience online. So a great way to think about this is when you walk into a physical store and you say, look at a wall of 100 TVs, it is really hard to navigate that process. How do you know what TV is right from you from the 100 or 200? Normally in store, that sales assistant experience guides you through that process. So they start asking you a handful of questions, understanding your needs, your criteria. And then from there, they say, okay, don't look at these TVs, don't look at them, have a look at these 2 or 3. They fit your needs and criteria really well. So on that basis, it kind of leads us into the why, the how, and the what. So simply put, our what is that we believe the online shopping experience should be the same as in store. And you may know this, and we'll go through it a little bit later, but in store, for every 100 people or so that walk into a store, typically 30 to 40% of those people walk out with a purchase. So in-store conversion rates sit at 30 to 40. where online, as we know, it's more likely one or two. And from our research, a big component of that is that guided selling experience. Our how is also relatively simple. Preezie as a business, we give businesses the tools and the education they need to bring that in-store experience online. So with working with our clients and building the right tools and software, we can bring that experience online quickly, easily, in a really efficient manner. And what it is, as I mentioned, it's a guided conversion and product discovery platform that brings that sales assistant online. So in terms of who we're working with some of the major brands in e-commerce, including...
Oops. Michael, we seem to have lost you there for a second, buddy. Well, that would be unfortunate. So while we're waiting for
Bevels,
we lost you there. You actually faded out from "we're working with" and then you were gone.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back.
Oh, good. Yeah, so we're working with several tons of e-commerce businesses, all from around the world, including the UK, New Zealand, Australia. And we're also venture backed. So we are a fast growing business working specifically with e-commerce. We are structured and our software is built around solving that guided conversion and that guided selling experience specifically for e-commerce. And to give you a little bit of an idea of the types of industries we work with, we're pretty industry agnostic. So everything from travel to jewelry to sports to food and beverage to fashion, we work with a range of different businesses. So going on to what is the problem, and I touched on this earlier, but it is relatively simple. E-commerce and the conversion online in e-commerce is broken. As you can see there, the in-store experience converts at 30 to 40%, and when comparing that to online, it's usually a factor of 30 to 40 times less, so 1 to 2%. And when you start to understand and dig deep into e-commerce conversion specifically, you can start to get an idea of why there is such a large gap between the two. And it's often simple things like the navigation is difficult. E-commerce stores often have a lot of noise, and customers and consumers, they struggle to find the right products. So when you go onto a website and you don't have that guided selling approach, and you have, for example, hundreds of products, it's really hard to understand the consumer's requirements and then articulate in a really clear and concise fashion why a specific product might be suitable for them. So, what do we do about this? How can we remove that noise and basically increase conversions by improving the customer experience? Well, we call it guided conversion. And as Marty mentioned earlier, it's effectively guided shopping or guided selling. So the same experience that you get walking into a store, speaking with a sales consultant, getting them to understand your needs and having them recommend products in real time, that's the same thing we do. And there are really two main elements to guided conversion. One is to help consumers make decisions, and then the second is to avoid that choice paralysis. So I'm not sure how many are familiar with the term choice paralysis, but effectively what it means is that when you show consumers too many options, and normally that starts to appear even as low as 6, the consumer enters into a state of paralysis because they can't find it. They find it quite difficult to differentiate between product A, B, and C. So, a lot of this in terms of the psychology and the science is all about helping the users and the consumers make decisions by understanding their criteria set and then showing them products to avoid that choice paralysis. So, there are lots of different ways to increase conversions online. Why guided conversions? And as Marty mentioned, I find it pretty simple to explain. It's because it increases conversion rates dramatically. So from our clients, we have seen on average an increase of 400%. That's across the board. So as Marty mentioned, sometimes it's 200, sometimes it's 1,200. and it can range, but on average, we have seen from our clients an increase of 4 times. And it's quite simple to understand why that happens, because you enhance the customer experience and engagement. You lead consumers or your customers to the products and services they need faster. And with that, you can also capture quite a lot of invaluable data because you're effectively getting real-time surveys of what your customers need, but you're offering an incentive of recommendations. So it's not like a simple survey and asking for an email. It's actually providing them that customer path to purchase. So going back on the conversion rates, we are very, very data driven, and we simply put, we say the results speak for themselves. So these are 4 e-commerce brands we're working with that are all different. Blue Bungalow is women's fashion, and they've seen an increase in conversion rate of 3 times. With Sportitude, they sell shoes, typically running shoes, and their specific conversion rate of people that use the system is actually 9.7%. And they've actually seen an increase of average order value of 15%. Nick's Wine sells wines, and they've seen an increase in conversion rate of users that use the system of over 600%. And Super Butcher actually sell like meat online, and they've seen an almost 80% increase on-page conversion. So if you measure the page before Preezie and after Preezie, it's almost doubled in conversion on just the page. So, we basically back our software, we look at the results, and, on average, we have seen that 400% increase in conversions.
Right. And so
in terms of,
can you
sure,
go back to
go ahead.
Yeah. So on the slide here, so just so we're clear here on this. So, he's talking about a 300% increase in Blue Bungalow, 652 on Nick's and so on. But on Sportitude, he's giving you the conversion rate that's going through their system, and so he can't tell you that was an increase of 200% or 500% because that gives away real data for Sportitude. But
Yes.
As you all know, a 9.7% conversion rate on an e-commerce for something going through is an amazingly good rate. Okay, so he's giving you a couple different flavors here. I just wanted to point that out. I'm sorry, Michael, but so in some instances he's saying it's like a 300%, okay, above. All right, and then the others are 9.7. So we got a question here that I'd like to answer. I'll read you the question, Michael, and I'll answer first, and then you go on. He said, no slight meant these improved conversion rates look awesome. Might the summit result be COVID-19 related? Were the increased conversion rates similar a year? Has this been less than a year and so on? This is actually, we've been working with them from well before COVID-19. These results are not COVID-19 related. These results are what they get. And this is the kind of stuff that we've been preaching for years. We've done tests just like this, literally 5 and 6 years ago. This is absolutely what happens. This is not COVID related, okay? Now, having said that, we're gonna talk about COVID in a minute, all right? And why this has become more important, but that's a whole nother discussion. So Michael, that was my take on it. You got anything to add to that, or you're good?
No, I mean, you're spot on the money. These aren't COVID-19 related. All these numbers happened before February this year. And as you mentioned, Sportitude, and I have given you a flavor, that is, you're all right. So, 1,000 or 10,000 people use the Sportitude Preezie software, they will get 970 transactions coming from that. It's that simple. So you're on the money with everything you said.
Okay. All right, so we'll so let's continue on. I'm sorry to interrupt you in the middle there, right?
No, great. I think going through questions and answers as they come through is preferred as well. So any more, just shoot them my way.
Okay. So we did have one more, but so Marcus asked, how does this work for in B2B and manufacturing, and what about catalogs with small value products, with smaller, like a $5 price point, and so. in manufacturing, because we've got clients where they've got large catalogs and people are trying to find things. If there's a large range of things that they have to choose from, it works. If they've got two products, and a banana, this doesn't work. I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? But
yeah,
so I don't know if you want to, and the price, it doesn't matter. It's the choice. It's the logic of guiding them through to find stuff, right? It's all about
yes,
the volumes.
yes, yeah, no, spot on. So you are right. So large product range is preferred. Typically, we work with businesses that have a range of more than 30. So even a range of 30 or so, you can lead yourself into choice paralysis very, very quickly. And in terms of the value of the product, it doesn't matter. Like, we're working with brands that sell tea and sell coffee. But, for example, if you think about tea, you can look at it like, okay, there might be a range of 100 teas, but you're looking for a tea that has this flavor, pairs well with milk. You drink it with honey. You drink it before bed to calm yourself, or you want to feel refreshed in the morning, or you want to feel posh. You can give it some attitude, make it fun. So yeah, but basically the way we think about this is, if you have a product that typically requires some level of consideration, then our software works well, and your range is over 30. So for example, if it's a blue pen and a black pen, there is no consideration, then you pick. If it's a single mattress of 3 different sizes, there is no product range or any real consideration there. But, if typically you might get product questions, or there is some form of consideration, then yes, our software pairs well with products like that.
Perfect. All right. Sorry, that was it. So yeah.
No stress. Cool. So we have spent a lot of time making it easy to integrate. So as Marty said, and I think part of the value proposition of SaaSes, or software as a service, is that it needs to be quick to integrate. So effectively, we have 3 simple steps. One is we integrate your data. It could be through for example, a Shopify API, a data feed, etc., a CSV, a file. Then from there, we effectively build out these workflows. And when we say workflows, we mean the quizzes, which I'll show you in a minute. And then from there, it's basically testing it and plugging it into your website. And plugging it into your website is as simple as copying and pasting a little bit of code. So typically, we can get systems up and running within a few days, 48 hours even. There was one client we actually got up within a 24-hour period. So there is no development required on the client side. We have built the system to integrate data, clean data, create workflows, build the whole logic and algorithm, all the smarts involved, and plugging it into your website without the need of any external development. So, integration is simple, and there is not a large process there in terms of, do I need to code this or do this? We're built in a way where it's just a simple plug and play.
And that's why I wanted to bring this to our audience, because we've been preaching guided shopping experience for years, and we've actually helped clients implement those. But the issue is, we design this stuff, and when they implement it, it's weeks worth of work without a platform, okay? If not months. It really depends. And so by having a platform that does the heavy lifting for you, frankly, you can get that return on investment so much quicker. So regardless of what you do, this is the thing that e-commerce companies need to do. And I would suggest that using a platform is absolutely the smarter way to go about it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Marty. You're spot on. So in terms of return or where we sit, we typically, a lot of the times we come from marketing budget. We are a CRO tool, and we strive for a return on investment that's really high, 20 to 60 times. And if I just quickly go back to here, you'll see, we always quote it because we feel it's important. So, Blue Bungalow 29, Sportitude 45, Nick's Wines 43, and Super Butcher 80. So we do believe that, for every dollar you spend on a tool, on AdWords, on CRO, whatever it may be, provide some return. Otherwise, you know, why are you spending the money? So we do strive to, you know, shoot for those 20 to 60 times return on investments. And that's just a small graph on, you know, how it compares to some other ones that we've seen in the market. So in terms of what does it look like and what we actually do, you know, I will stress it that our true north is to really understand the psychology that, you know, drives consumer behavior. So we are very scientifically driven. We're driven by data. We're driven by psychology of humans and human beings. And then we use that and we understand that and we build the tools and the software and the processes to be able to use that. And being able to do that is very powerful. You know, even in the past, I've heard Marty say, you know, we are human beings and we don't like these things, but we love these things. And that's looking at the psychology of humans. And, you know, we really dig deep into understanding that and then building tools that work. So effectively, there are 3 different main components of what we do. One is the workflows, and they're basically, to call it simple, the quizzes. So that's the specific, you know, replicate that in-store guided selling approach, go with questions and answers and product recommendations. From there, a lot of the times it's about where you place them. When do you call for someone to use these? Where do you plug them in? And getting the utilization from them. Because if you plug it in and 5% of your audience use it, well, you can only affect 5% of your revenue. So, you know, we've done a lot of research, and there are quite a bit of research in the market that says 50% of users leave a site point blank if they can't find the right product for them quickly. So we've built things like exit intents, call to actions, and pop-ups so that we can run our system and trigger it at the right times. And then the third product is what we call personalization blurbs. So it is a little bit hard to see there because we are plugging it in. But effectively what that does is when a consumer uses our system, for example, in this example, they use the dress workflow. We can then plug a little blurb that sits on the product pages that can actually explain for every single product, every single dress they go on, how that dress suits them. So let's go, you go through a workflow for dresses, and then the system knows, okay, this lady wants a dress that's, you know, below the knees, that's dark, that's, you know, flattering for the curves, that's at this price. Any dress you visit can have this personalization blurb, which is like a one-to-one personalized product recommendation. We call it Netflix style recommendations for e-commerce. So, you know, with Netflix, it says like, oh, this product, this movie title matches you 75%, 95%. We can do the same things in real time on product pages.
And then I'll go a step further with that. And so what that allows someone to do is, if they've gone through the process of saying what they're looking for, and then they're looking on the site, what's going to happen is it's basically saying to the client, it's like, you've listened to me, you paid attention to what's important to me, and that's important, and that works. I mean, we've all had, at least I think we've had, you've all probably shopped for a car at some point, and you tell them, the car guy, what it is you want, and what happens? They immediately start pushing stuff that is not even remotely relevant to you, because the average car salesman is clueless. And I'm sorry if there's any car salesmen on here, right? But, you know, there's no, you know, back and forth, as opposed to like in fashion, if you go in to buy, and I'll do that, I don't know if you've seen these shows, but like these wedding dress shows that they've got on TV, where they try to find out what the person's looking for, and it's that personalized experience. And these people are buying wedding dresses that are literally thousands of dollars. Well, why are they doing that? You know, it's that guided experience. And now when they're looking at it, you know, and they're browsing through it, it's like when I go to a men's store, they say, well, here's, based on what you told me, here's the section over here that you want to look through. So I know when I'm looking through it, this is all the stuff that's relevant to me, right? And this is doing the same exact thing. So not only is it saying to the visitor, hey, we listened to you, it's also an additional trust symbol above and beyond, because I'm feeling good about this shopping experience. I'm sorry, Michael, to take over your thing here, but that's why this is important from I mean, from us as a conversion, agency, I'm looking at this and thinking, this is brilliant. I was so excited by this. That's why I wanted to bring it to the audience. So anyway, go ahead, Michael.
No, it's great. And one thing to add on to that is, products that aren't visual. For example, let's go TVs, let's go wine. Let's go, you go on a website and you pick a few filters with wine, and you want a wine that pairs well with meat. You want a wine that's a certain price. You want a wine that's imported. You want a wine that is medium bodied. When you're on the wine page or you click through certain wines, you then have to, have a look or read a description to understand, okay, what does this match from, my criteria? Having this can quickly give you that summary in a matter of seconds. So it really is taking that guided selling approach to the next level. Okay, so in terms of the presentation, that's it. So effectively, that's it on the presentation side.
So yeah, but we're going to take you through now. We're going to have a little bit of discussion, and we're actually going to show you real numbers under the covers here. Okay, and so Michael, Mark has asked, and I know Mark. Mark has asked what would be. He runs an agency, a partner of ours. He's asking, what's the one sentence or basically the elevator pitch that would make this work. And I see a number of partners on here too. So I'll offer this up, guys. We're going to send the recording to you. Michael's also going to send afterwards the PDF of this presentation. So you're going to get an email with him, and there's going to be an option here at the end, an offer that he's got. Reach out to Michael, reach out to me. If we're partners, I'll walk you through this. My goal is to have, so Mark, as you know, my goal is to help you increase your business too. It's my goal is to get Michael's stuff into clients. So, I will facilitate those introductions. We'll help on sales calls. We'll make it happen for you. Okay. Did I say anything that's not true there, Michael?
No, spot on.
Okay.
And I think to take it one step further, the elevator pitch is at our point, it's relatively simple. It's, bring the in-store shopping experience online, what I've got there, and increase your conversions by 400%. It's very simple in terms of a 5-second elevator pitch. Okay,
perfect. All right. So, the website is Preezie, but now we're going to talk a little bit. Actually, how are we doing on time? Let's just dive right into the product, if you don't mind. I'm looking at the time.
Yeah,
I
agree.
The smarter thing to do. I'm sorry, buddy. We were going to talk a little bit about COVID, and all I'm going to say on COVID as he's pulling up the product, and some examples here is, now because people are shopping more online and are not going, they need that guided experience more. They need to feel safe. They need to feel like they're in control. Okay, and so we need to have that warmer relationship, those connections with people during the shopping experience, and this allows us to do that. All right, so I'm sorry we're cutting that part short, but I thought that first part of the discussion was important. And so Michael, show us if you want to maximize that screen to make it bigger, and let's go through your yeah, good.
Okay, so one of our clients, Blue Bungalow, women's fashion. And, the normal process to find, let's go, we're looking for a dress. The normal process is to hover over dresses, either click all dresses or click a category specifically. And we all know the normal process is there are some filters on the side, and there are, tons and tons of products. I believe Blue Bungalow have over 900 dresses. I think it might actually, so at the moment, 560 dresses. So their range probably went down a little bit with COVID. But still a lot of dresses. And the only way to go through that process normally is, click a filter, and typically filters reload pages or take time. Then click a filter, click another filter, and you can go through a process where, you click 5 filters, end up with 80 dresses, and you go, wow, I got to scroll through 80. Or you can click 3 filters, and the filters don't match anything, and it shows you nothing. Now that's not replicating the in-store experience. So, simply put, this is our software here running. So on their homepage, it's, take the quiz to discover the perfect outfit. And this is actually our software embedded into the website. So you can see it looks completely flush. It looks on brand. It just flows perfectly with the website. And the experience for address can look more like this. You know, I am looking for address. Great. Is there a preferred length? So part of this is, you know, going into the emotional side and what Marty said, being warm about the process. You know, don't just ask straight, bland questions. Understand the need and understand the application. So, you know, above knee in this example, what is your preference for sleeves? Long, short, sleeveless, etc. You can even have things like not fussy or I don't know or help me for things like sizes. From there, it goes on to, do you have a fabric preference? So, you know, they do ask the natural questions, but you can easily ask, you know, something non-iron, something stretchy, etc. Things like, what is your preferred fit? So, you know, these are things that are really hard to do often in filters because filters and tags don't often have this information. So building the rules in our backend makes it powerful because you can do things like ask, you know, do you want something loose and flowy? Would you prefer something more fitted? Would you prefer something that, you know, flatters my curves, etc. Goes through colors, you know, is it for an event or is it something casual? And, you know, it looks about a budget, talks about a budget. So from there, simply put, you click results and in the space of, you know, a couple seconds, it's gone through the entire product range and it's even given you a little bit of feedback here. So we've got tons of little tools and whatnot to allow you to put in a bit of feedback, to do what Marty said. You know, I've asked you some questions, I've listened and I've heard you, and these are the results. So in this example, it's gone, as this dress is for a special event with something more fitted and a solid color, we recommend the below 6. And from here, you can, you know, click through, you can restart. Even for Blue Bungalow, we can even have these forms. So it's, you know, do you need more help? Prefer to talk to us about finding the right style? Fill in your details. And then things like that is, when you fill in your information, we can then connect all the questions, all the answers, all the recommendations, and send you that email. And then you can then get on the phone with someone on a style. Blue Bungalow actually call it a styling service, and you can talk them through or move it into live chat or etc. So that's one quick example. Further to that, I'll take you through another one. So
yeah, let me just say two things. So because I shouldn't have to say this, but so this is, you know, a lot of your clients, a lot of the people that are here are in different countries. So the English on here that he's using is more specific to this client, which is in Australia. So don't be put off that the English is a little different from ours. That's all configurable and written. It doesn't. It could say, and this dress is perfect for the American girl. It doesn't matter. That's all configurable. So if it seems a little off from an American point of view, just ignore that. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, on that basis, everything you've seen is configurable. The size of the image, the text, the color, we can make these numbers or percentages. Everything you see, this, you know, breadcrumbs, no breadcrumbs, everything is configurable in our system and it's real time. So there is no development required. You can, you know, make these any way you want. And I'll quickly show you another example. So Sportitude, who sell the shoes, this is on their running shoes page. So at the moment, they've got over 1,000 pairs of running shoes to go through. And you can see here, they've got their filters, but our system is actually running up here on the actual catalog page. So you can see that it sits at the top and they've called it the running shoe selector. So find the perfect running shoe in 30 seconds. And there are different types of question formats. With Blue Bungalow, you saw all just radio buttons. But with Sportitude, they've got a drop down here. They've actually got a slider for size. So what is your size? You know, US 11, for example. What shoe width do you need? So we can go into, you know, shoe width standard all the way to not sure. And then what we can do is, if you ask for things like not sure, we can take that to a separate question that goes, okay, you know, the shoe width actually means this. Can you measure your foot width? And then we can take that and use that to understand shoe width. So we can really guide them down the process if they need to be taken that far. what level of support do you need? So you'll see here, these are actually GIFs that run, and it gives you an ability to put more information within the icons or the images. So I've just clicked in this example, motion control, a preference of brand, Adidas or don't mind, whatever you want. So this is another example of a different type of question. We use these sliders for budget. So, what is your budget? And, colors. So from here, you can even see little things like floating buttons that we've got there. So even things like floating buttons, it's all configurable to make sure the user experience is simple and easy. Because on mobiles, you don't want to scroll. You want to click your answer. You want to go next. So we can have things like floating buttons, the works. So in this case, it's going through it, finding your perfect shoe. Give it a second. My internet's probably a bit slow. Okay, so in this, you'll see the text is completely different. In this example, the client wanted it to be very job to be done. So you have selected gender this, men, width this, size this. Based on that, we recommend the below. And in this example, we've even got things like these check boxes and these ticks. So what this can do is actually tell you from all those selections, from the 1,000 shoes, nothing actually matches everything perfectly. Because you can understand if you have 7 questions with 7 answers each or 5 answers each, there's actually millions of permutations. And it's really unlikely something always matches. And that's kind of the downgrade with filters. In this case, a filter would go, sorry, can't help you because brand doesn't match. In this case, our system has the ability to go, I know what's more important. In this case, the client has determined brand is least important. So you can see there, these first 3 match everything except for brand. But you can see here, the next shoe or shoe number 5 matches everything except for brand, price, and color, and etc. So we can start to really take that guided selling approach to the next level. And then on that basis, what I'll do is I'll just show you one more of a different style. So this is Nick's Wines, that one that got 652% uplift in conversions. So with them, you can see 1,600 wines. Their filters, they're relatively useless because, in this example, I'm not a connoisseur of wine. I just know that I want to buy a wine for, mother. It's Mother's Day, and I know she drinks something full-bodied because when, I had a glass once, it tasted strong. For example, because this is the real world, and that's how real people shop. So I don't know if a Shiraz is full. I don't know if a Merlot is full, etc. So we've plugged our software in there, and it's really minimalized. So that's why I wanted to show you this in terms of configuration. Very streamlined. So simply put, what style you're looking for. Let's go medium bodied. Roughly, what would you like to spend? 25 to 50. Would you like something with some bottled age? Yes or no? Would you like something imported or Australian? Let's go imported. Same thing goes through the system, and I think I've got results already appeared here. So, yeah, and you can see there very clearly, this one matches you best at 94%, so forth for the next 2 at 79. So there are a few different examples of, how we're using the system and some real life examples. So on that basis, if there isn't any direct Q&A, I'll just take you into a dashboard of Blue Bungalow so you can actually see how this is affecting the numbers.
And I'm going to suggest you go right into that because that's the thing that excited the heck out of me. It's, seeing how it looks is great that it can match and you can blend, but it's all about the money. So as they say, show me the money. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So I have permission. So this is actually the dashboard of Blue Bungalow over the last 30 days. And you can see here very, very clearly that, bit over 8,000 starts and an 11.3% conversion rate, revenue of 120, return and transactions of 830. So, these aren't numbers that we can fabricate. This is literally in the system, all tracked through tracking mechanisms. And numbers like this at 11, 12% are not uncommon. As you saw before, for Sportitude, it was 9.7. And these are numbers that we're seeing really consistently. And on average from all the clients, we are seeing that number is 4 times higher than their standard conversion rate on the website.
So think about it. On average, 4 times more. So if you put this in the right place and you get people to use it on the website, the people that go through this, on average, it increases the conversion rate and revenue by 400%. That's the key. And again, it could be 200%. I've never seen it lower than that. And it could be 1,200%, right? And so, but if the average is 4, this is like a no-lose proposition for an e-commerce company.
Yeah, that's right. And you're spot on the money. It is all about conversion rate. That is, that is the end game. All the science, all the psychology, all the features, all the tools, making it easy. That's all a precursor to, like you said, the money. If it works, it makes money. And that's pretty much why we push really hard on that return on investment. So this is actually cool to show you. The return on investment here is actually higher than when we did the case study. So that's actually cool. It's actually gone up. So yeah, no, it is all about that. And this is a quick rundown of the software. It is all logged in. It is all configurable. All those workflows you saw, it's all configurable in here. All the reports, everything is done in here. So it gives you a good idea that this is a already built SaaS platform. You want to make a change, log in, make the change, record the results. It will be up in a few minutes. It doesn't require any heavy lifting. It's all built in a way to just make it simple and easy for e-commerce brands to get that 400% uplift in conversions. That's right.
Anything else you would like to add in this discussion today, or we're in pretty good shape, would you say?
No, I think we're in pretty good shape. We've covered most of the points that I wanted to cover, and I think on that basis, if there's any additional Q&A, we've got a few spare minutes. We can answer a few Q&As. But yeah, I'm pretty happy at this point.
Okay.
As long as everyone's clear on everything we said.
Sure. Well, there's a couple things that we're being asked for. Mark is having difficulty finding the selector on Sportitude. He went there and he couldn't find it.
So on Sportitude, there's a few different ways to get it. You can hover over shoes and go the shoe finder, or if you want, their biggest category is actually running shoes. They get a lot of direct traffic to there. So if you click running shoes, and I apologize, my internet is running really slow. You can see how slow the page is loading. It actually sits at the top of running shoes. What I can do if the audience wants, once I send out our email with the PDF, potentially I can attach, or I can just put in a few links to some of these examples.
I think that's a great idea. Direct links so they could see it, and so
yeah.
So you'll send the PDF out like next week then, so that you can put it all together for them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so the next one, Mark goes, found it. Okay, Mark, good. All right, and then the next question is about pricing. Okay. How does this get priced? Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, sure. So you would have seen here, our pricing starts at $600 a month, and that's AUD, and it goes up as it gets more usage. So to give you some insight, most of our customers are between 1,250 and 2,000 Aussie a month, and it can go up. So it really depends on the level of traffic and the level of usage the system gets. But it is a software as a subscription. It is a monthly fee. It starts at 600, and then it typically caps out at 3 to 4, 5,000 Aussie a month.
Right. And with the exchange rate and the Australians being hammered right now, for those of you in the U.S., that's actually a good deal. I an order Mac. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Michael. Sorry. All right. But
it's true. It's true.
But anyway, but here's the thing. Go back to that ROI slide, okay, where you got the ROI. So knowing the pricing is good. All right. So you can estimate stuff. But if you look at the ROI and you're getting, as he's showing, 20 plus return on investment and 60 plus return on investment, assuming some reasonable cost of goods sold, this is so worth doing because it's bringing in, you know, a ton of you know, a ton of value for sales that they wouldn't have had, right? And so it's all about the ROI, guys, right? So, all right, so
Yes.
we've got a couple more questions in here, but
Yep.
we're also getting close to our time. So, what product data attributes are critical to the success of implementing Preezie? So, what Lauren asked.
Yeah, that's a great. I'm going to answer the questions with brevity. So, great question. It really depends on what Q&A you want. So, we have customers that have very strict and very structured data, you know, product fields, bang, bang, it's great. We also have a few clients that we actually take the descriptions. So we've got a few clients that have gone, we'd love to use this, but we don't have structured data. We actually looked at their website and we saw their product descriptions had enough information. So we can then look for certain keywords, ignore certain keywords, and we can build up logic to clean the product descriptions. So the reality is, we have yet to meet a business that couldn't use this because of data. And to caveat that, we spent a lot of time and money developing a product importer and logic to be able to use what we call very dirty data. So that's typically like a non-blocker for us.
Okay. All right. This next question, you'll forgive me. I'm not sure I understand the question. And it's from, and I'm not pronouncing your name right, my apologies in advance, Amilcar. But he said, Michael, and about a marketplace as multi-vendor and N products, do you have a similar solution? I don't understand the question, so I can't answer it. Michael,
I think I may understand it.
Okay.
So marketplaces, you know, typically have different vendors, different suppliers. For example, eBay is a marketplace. In Australia, some like airports are having marketplaces, and they have, I think when he means end products, he means like any number of products, could be 1 million. Up to date, we haven't worked directly with any marketplaces, but we would love to because there are no restrictions there. So we've got clients that have, you know, we've got a single client that has 47,000 SKUs. And for what it's worth, we import that data in 3 minutes. And in terms of different vendors, a lot of the times our system is built on occasion or on a category. So working with the marketplace could make a lot of sense, but you know, I'd have to understand how the marketplace works with different tenants and things like that.
So Amilcar, and again, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing an error. He replied exactly. So what we've proved here is Michael is smarter than I am. Okay.
No. I can interpret well.
So no worries. But if you've got something that makes sense, you know, you've got his email address, and you know, I would recommend that you reach out to him. So I think we're good. I think well, we're going to take one last question here. Lauren has asked a question. How often is data imported and updated? On a daily basis, we add and remove products from our site. So how often is it updated?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what's really cool is I can probably show you how easy that is to configure. But effectively, you can see here, Blue Bungalow's database imports every day because we configure it that way. So this is how flexible we've made it. We can go interval type days, 1. I can go interval type hours, 1. We can import it once an hour. We can even import it once a minute, but that would be crazy. So effectively, it's up to you. And we can even time it. So 23, you know, 11 o'clock. So basically, whenever you want.
Yeah. So I think it's clear to me that a lot of thought went into this. And again, I go back to just taking the platform aside for a second. Forget the platform. Doing this guided kind of discovery increases the you know, the conversion rate and the revenue. Not doing it without a platform is painful, right? And that's from experience. We've done it without platforms, okay? And now there's a platform that I think is absolutely unique out there. And I would recommend anybody who's got an e-commerce site with a reasonable number of products, this needs to be, you know, installed and used now. All right. And as Michael pointed out, it can be done very quickly. All right. Now, yes, he's had people do it in a day and 3 days. So, but let's set realistic expectations. You know, the average one is a couple of weeks, maybe. What? So I know you got crazy people who said we need it tomorrow. I get that.
Yeah,
But what's normal?
Average would be 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay, that feels more reasonable. But once it's in place, it's easy to modify and update and all that other good stuff, right? All right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a more reasonable expectation because everybody says, "Oh, great." Well, you said a day. I think you and your other founders would have a heart attack. So
yeah.
okay. Well, I thought that was brilliant today. I want to thank you. I want to thank our audience for attending. You will get an email from us with the recording in a couple of days, and then next week Michael will send you out the full PDF with the examples and all the rest of it. And so and we've gotten some thanks for a great session, so you're welcome. And Michael, so thank you, and for all our attendees, thank you again for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Marty, and thanks to everyone for attending.
Okay, take care all. Cheers.